I kind of asked you before, but you haven't had any kind of culture shock with the foreign people you meet, or you said you have a little
No.
just surprise just knowing that your family's a little different, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you
That's
never
only
have
the
culture shock.
surprise.
You never have like surprise.
No,
You never feel like, what's that? Or like really surprised from Western culture. We talked about money a little.
no. I don't I don't really think so.
Mm,
No.
really?
Maybe just like oh, just that birthday stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Just that yeah, just that birthday stuff.
You're
That's
focused on
I
the big
find a
stuff.
bit
You're like, oh, people are people, you know. But like, since I live in
no, no,
Japan now,
no.
I
But
focus
like
on these.
yeah, yeah. Small things. Yeah, like the birthday stuff. It's different. Yeah. But then that's about it, I guess. When
Mm,
I mm, what else? Nothing. Yeah, just
I'm
that.
I'm sure you'll notice more if you stay in Bali for longer.
Uh,
I think
yeah,
I think
probably,
if you pay
probably, yeah.
attention to details, you notice stuff. And yeah, people are unique, of course, but
hmm
like
hmm
there are some things which like it's just, how do you say? If you meet 10 people from the country, at least 5 or 7 of them are gonna have this kind of habit. Yeah. So like,
I think I met some like the Spanish would talk to each other in Spanish. They don't really like mingle other than like other cultures. So even in Bali, they kind of like mingle with their own. So they just use the place as a place, not as a place to learn culture. I think that's bad. That's a bad idea to visit a country that's different from yours, but you don't mingle with the locals. And you don't treat them like they are interesting, but more like they serve me. That's a bad idea to
yeah,
look at it.
yeah, I don't like that at all. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, I okay. So first of all,
Oh,
I want to make a disclaimer. So we're making
mm-hmm.
stereotypes here. I
Yes,
feel like stereotypes are not a bad thing. It's just that they require a lot of like careful examination, and like you
exactly.
have to look at
Yeah,
your stereotypes and say, are these, how accurate are these? And you have to be willing to let your stereotypes change, because some things are just
pretty
about
much.
having a different school system, or a different climate, or different diet or
Yes.
something. It's not saying that these people are bad or something like that, you know. um,
Yeah, yeah.
I have two rules for stereotypes for myself. One is that I always allow them to change, and two is that I never judge an individual based on a stereotype.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
aside from that, I
That's
don't I don't have a problem with stereotypes. uh,
well.
yeah.
One thing I think stereotype is what makes me more curious about other
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
because then um, you say like, we Indonesian have a strange stereotype about Westerners sometimes that they are rich, but then once you found out, like they have money, but then once you found out, not all of them have money.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Well,
Yeah, and then now because of internet, they're slowly realizing that not all of them have money,
yeah.
that they even have like homelessness problem or other problems in their country.
Yeah.
So if I don't know who else in this world would like think like that. Um,
Well,
it's funny. There are much more stereotypes, and then once you get curious, once you try to find out the truth, and you will learn that it's not that way. Not all of them are like that.
yeah. Well, another thing is with stereotypes is that if you live in a certain place, you might have different stereotypes based on what kind of person comes to that place.
Yeah.
So I grew up thinking that all Koreans are Christian because my hometown had a
Right.
Christian church. It had a Korean church. And
Yeah.
so all the Christian Koreans would gather in this area. But then later when I came to Japan, I realized, oh, there's a lot of Buddhists actually. And there's some people who
Mm.
aren't religious at all. And so there's all these different factors. Or like when you talk about Chinese, so um, in Japan, the Chinese people that came over at a certain time because of the politics, because of the relationship between the countries, because of other factors. They came from different areas of the country, and they had their own kind of different culture. And
hmm
so you also have people that came the last, 10 or 20 years, and they tend to come from a
Right.
different part of the country. And those places have
Yeah.
different cultures. So in the north, for example, people are much more outgoing and more um, kind of, they drink more, and they kind of, let's drink, let's drink, let's drink. In the South, people are more
Yeah,
like, oh, you do things your way. You know, they kind of they don't get really kind of close all the time. So it takes more time to make a relationship with someone, but at the same time, you have more freedom in the relationship. But
mm-hmm.
also, because I live in Japan, so people that come to Japan, they're interested in anime and whatever else
Yeah,
sometimes.
pretty much,
And so
pretty
you
much.
could make stereotypes based on that in Japan. You could say like, oh yeah, everyone in this country likes this. Like, no, those people are coming to your country.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's the same thing. When people come to Indonesia, they think all Indonesians are Muslim,
yeah,
but that's not the
yeah,
case.
yeah,
That is not the case.
yeah.
So it's one of the stereotyping that, you know, a lot of outsiders do.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think the
be,
problem's not the stereotype. It's just like it's about breaking down your own stereotype and rebuilding it, and
yeah,
breaking it
yeah,
down and rebuilding it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, and
That's how it is.
also not treating the individuals based on that because everyone is individual still.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. One thing that I found people still guilty of is that they are stereotyping and just treat it based on that, but that's not the case.
yeah, yeah,
When you start seeing people as people, then
yeah.
it's gonna be the
Yeah.
same thing.
Oh God, when I was
Yeah.
traveling in China though, like people would offer me steak or hamburgers sometimes. I'd be like they'd be like, "I want to take you for dinner." I'd be like, "Oh, that's nice. Where are we going?"
Right.
"I want to take you to a steak place." I'm like, oh, I don't really like steak that much, right? And they'd be like, "But you're
Mm.
American," and I'd be like, "Yeah, but I'm not really into steak, right?" And they'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then next time they would take me to a steak place anyway, and I'd be like,
Wow.
didn't I tell you I wasn't into steak, right? Okay, all right, whatever. I'll
Right.
just eat it. Thanks for the meal, right? And because they wanted to treat me, and I told you that in China people treat each other, right? And so
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah, it was. I think when you're really different and you're in a place where people aren't used to foreigners, they get really
hmm
they get some people are really stuck in their stereotypes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the
I
more they're
saw that.
exposed, the more. Japan used to be like that too. People just hamburger, hamburger, hamburger. You like hamburgers? I'm like, I don't like hamburgers. Not really.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's one thing as well. Like they assume just because I'm not from Bali,
No.
I don't eat pork. But
Mm-hmm.
one, and then I told them, I started asking them, where is the good pork place? And then they know that I'm not those things that they think about
Yeah,
me
yeah, yeah,
as a person.
yeah,
And then they start opening up, and it becomes even more fun when they don't stereotype me as this or that.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is exactly why I think it's so important for people, if they can, to live overseas, and if they can, to just
Yeah,
like try and expose themselves to as much media and
yeah.
different kind of
Um,
people as possible.
See, this is the thing. I think it was someone on my Twitter who said that
Yeah,
I want to live like you or travel like you. But then I told this person to just try within the country
yeah,
that he's living, because I believe that even in one country, your culture are different. Like let's say
yes.
the North and the South of America, they are very different.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah. Even in the U.S.,
Yeah,
it's
even
ridiculous. Oh,
yeah, so I think like you don't really have to travel outside of your country if you
mhm,
don't have the means. Just travel within your country or like your place of living, and then you start noticing that they work differently. They have different food. They have different stuff. Even if you speak the same language, but the dialect would be different, and that also affects the situation.
mhm.
So yeah, that was where I was going with my advice, that you can literally just step out of your room and then it's gonna be different.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really have to travel outside of the country.
Mm.
It's nice definitely,
Yeah.
but if you don't have the means, you can just start from like this the simplest one, and then
Yeah.
you start having more and more questions of other cultures, and then who knows, if you can afford going in other places,
Mhm.
other countries, then do it.
Yeah. Even in the same city, though, like in the same city, if
Yeah,
you go
yeah,
to
yeah.
like if you're used to going to like the place where the tech people hang out, and then instead you go to where the skateboarders hang out, you're gonna feel something totally
Yeah,
different. It's almost like traveling to
exactly.
another country, and I love doing
Yeah, yeah.
that. So like, in Japan, I went to these like, do you know kendama?
No, I know Konji. The one that you.
We won't talk about that now. But no, no. So kendama is it's like a game. It's kind of like a you have this ball and it's on a stick and you throw it up in the air and you catch it on
Oh,
a
yeah,
stick.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
We used to play that.
I would go to these kendama cafes because they're so into kendama. And I was like, they have their own culture, and so the way they hang out with each other, the way they kind
Right.
of like
They talk.
cheer each other on, or like the way like somebody just takes a break from drinking coffee to go outside and do the kendama.
Yeah,
That's different from like
yeah,
the internet cafes or the the
yeah,
music.
yeah.
Like I go to a lot of like DJ cafes. There's all kinds of
Right.
places in Tokyo, which is really cool. But so these DJ cafes are really different from the Western pubs. Like a lot of people that speak
Mm.
English go to the Western pubs, and that's a totally different culture. So
Yeah,
I like just exploring all these little things inside of the same place sometimes. Yeah.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
like kind of gone out of your comfort zone in your own city before, or not?
A lot, many times, many times.
What did you discover?
Like I told you, like I told you, I was practically, I was curious about how to be a homeless person. So I kind of live with some homeless people, and then not kind of live longer, but just staying for like 2 nights or something. Yeah, it was 2 nights, and then,
Uh-huh.
discovering that it's kind of rough. I could not imagine
Sure, sure,
how they could live like that.
sure.
Um, oh yeah, farmers as well.
Wait,
Like
wait, wait. Can I
if
ask you about that though?
yeah,
You
yeah.
lived on the street.
No. Yeah, I live on the street. Not like living,
Uh-huh.
just like just because I was curious
Stay there and
of,
talk to them.
yeah. That's what I do every time.
Oh,
If I'm curious about something like waiters, or like if I want to know
yeah.
how to farm, then I will live with them. I don't mind.
That's so cool.
And we
Yeah.
talked about it before a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
That you told me to be careful.
Uh-huh.
I think it was when you were in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just the thing. Like I was very careful, especially in that situation where they are pretty desperate. But
Mhm. Yeah.
if you're like if you're like not um, threatening them or something, it's fine.
Yeah, it depends on the
Like
place. It really depends on the place. So like
yeah.
actually what you mentioned, that's what opened up my world too, is that my friend, he said, "Let me introduce you to my friends." And then he took me under the bridge to meet a homeless guy. And that was kind of the
Yeah,
moment where I just went like whoosh, like everything opened up to me. I'm like,
yeah,
this is how
yeah,
you can experience the world and really understand things. You just go and
yeah,
you experience it. But in some places you have to know the land and like what's going on in that place.
yeah,
So there's some neighborhoods you walk
yeah,
through, it's very highly likely you're going to get attacked in some places as well.
yeah,
You know, especially if you're
yeah,
not from
yeah,
there, if you look different, if you're carrying like if you have a nice watch on. So you have to know like what's
yeah.
going on there, but then once you know, you can really dive into it.
So one of the things is that people tell me that sometimes I look kind of homeless according to them. So,
Really? Really? I don't think that at all.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I dress very old-fashioned, or sometimes like
Uh-huh.
my clothes are not something new stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, more people are coming, and it was very easy for me to blend in because I literally live off my backpack in the past when I was much younger.
Mhm.
I always walk everywhere,
Um,
and yeah, and it was very easy for me to blend in with them. But after a while, yeah. And then I also tried to live with like farmers, a family of farmers,
uh-huh.
and I learned like their life is so peaceful, that they're so grateful of everything they have, which is crazy. And I used to be curious of bartending and being a waiter or like washing dishes in a restaurant.
Uh-huh.
I haven't done that, but I would love to.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy, but then I would love to. I would love to know behind the kitchen how they're doing this and that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I always thought you're an interesting person, but now I just feel like there's so many things I want to ask you about. I think we definitely have to do this again soon. But so
um.
like when you said you stayed with the
Yeah.
farm, just because you mentioned the farmers, how long did you
Yeah.
stay with them?
I stayed with them for about 3 months.
Really?
So
Was it a program or you
yeah,
just called them, you just walked up to them? How did you
um,
find it?
well, yeah, they're starting to play the music, so I have to like make
Okay.
myself
We'll
clear.
finish quickly then.
Um,
Yeah.
no, no, no. So yeah, basically it was from my university stuff
Mm.
that does like they call it community program where you are required to live in a remote places.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah,
the school set you up there.
yeah.
Okay. Was it
But then,
mandatory or you
but
just you volunteered for it?
no, no, it was kind of mandatory,
Uh-huh.
but then it was very raw. Like, like you actually have to live with them and then try to understand their life, and then you have to kind of help them to improve their life.
Uh-huh.
So you either help them with like, you know, building some, chicken house, chicken coop, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So it was like an interesting experience
Hmm.
that I got to live with them because they're not like trying to pretend that they're hosting us or something. They're just like living their life. But
Hmm. Yeah.
we live under the same roof and we don't even cook with gas. We use the firewood, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's like a
And
huge contrast from your hometown or at least from Jogjakarta.
very, very huge. No, no, very huge because it's more rural where like at night it's so dark and they just use like well, they have electricity but not in a good way. So you sort of also rely to lamps with like candle and shit.
Uh-huh.
It was interesting. And then you help them. I helped the mom to like, with the chicken coop, with the chicken stuff and cooking as well. There's a lot of things to do.
Mhm.
Even, yeah, it was interesting. But I also went to a farm in my mom's place,
Mhm.
my bio mom place. I met with the farmers as well. I just came up to them and like, hey, can I help you? And then they were like, no, 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 no,
Oh,
you are too clean to do all this. And then I just jumped right in, and then they were shocked.
really?
And then
I never heard these
yeah.
stories. You have so many good stories.
And then they were like, why are you doing this? You're ruining your clothes, you're ruining your, I don't know, like they were like, trying to talk me out of like helping them in the farm.
Uh-huh.
But then I was like, whatever, I just jumped right in, and then they teach me how to do it, and then they told me to stop, but then their work isn't finished, so I waited until everything is like set up.
Hmm.
And then I went back home, and I was the happiest person that day. Because I figure out how they do that, you know? And it's the same thing when I travel in Bali.
Hmm.
There was some, like, a woman was planting rice. And then I was like, hey, can I help? And she was like, yeah, sure. So it was really nice. And we got into conversation of how she did this and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
you know.
That,
But then
uh-huh.
but then these days, I feel like that's why I feel a bit stupid in a way because I'm because I'm not like doing the things that I used to do in the past, where I was like traveling into possibly some dangerous places where there's police and murders happening, or like going into a farm suddenly.
Yeah.
Um, Now I'm like in front of my laptop just like this
Hmm.
all the time. I miss that kind of like not really carefree, but more like actually learning something.
Hmm.
Like in the past, I used to want to be a hacker. Then I met a lot of hacker friends,
Uh-huh.
and then I learned a lot from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the same thing with other like. That's why I know a lot of what do you call it, internet cybercrime, because I was in them. I know.
Don't say anything that's gonna get you in
Okay,
trouble.
okay, okay. No, but it's fine. Well,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but then, yeah, it's because I know how they operate
See,
because I was in them.
uh-huh.
Not that I do it, but then I was in them and trying to learn stuff.
You were
So
trying to
yeah,
get in the door and talking to all kinds of people.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like that's my way of learning things. If you want to know something, then you have to do it. Like I think for the past 1 year, I've been learning about drugs, and that's how I got
Yeah.
exposed to
Yeah.
like
Be careful. Don't get
Okay.
yourself in trouble.
Okay. Okay, yeah, yeah. But then that's part of the thing, you know,
Uh-huh.
like if you want to learn something, sometimes you just have to get into that. Even though it may be dangerous, but then, you know, it's worth it.
Well,
You learn something from it.
there's a balance. I feel like curiosity is so powerful, and I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
really how we can like just have incredible lives. It's just through curiosity. And then
Yeah,
if you're worried about bad things happening, you just take it slowly, and you learn the land first. You learn about like what to be careful of, and how there are techniques.
exactly.
There are lots of techniques to
Yes,
do
yes,
certain
yes.
things. So like I have a friend who would hitchhike around different countries, and she's a
Hmm.
female, right? And I asked her like, "Aren't you worried about someone like just kind of taking you off
No.
somewhere?" Well, she said, well, at first, yeah, but I talked to other people and I learned how to avoid that. When I get in the car, I say, just because, I'm a woman by myself, I would like to take a picture of the license plate and a picture of your face and send it to my mother. Or
Yeah,
send
yeah,
it to
that's
my
what I
friend,
do
because
as
she
well.
didn't tell her mother she was
Yeah,
hitchhiking.
yeah.
But so she said, if anything happens to me, then, this is kind of insurance for me. And she said, everybody said it's okay, no problem. And
Yeah,
that kind of gave her, sure, there's a small chance someone doesn't care about getting caught, and but that's almost, that's a smaller chance than being hit by a car walking across the street. It's a very small chance once you take those precautions, and
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I didn't even think about doing something like that. I mean, first of all, it's not as scary for a man, but still it's a little bit scary for a man to get in a car with a stranger.
yeah,
But like when
yeah,
I heard that, I'm like, there's all kinds of tricks you can learn to like not be in as much danger when you're exploring. So you just have to learn
yeah.
about, you have
Well,
to talk to other people about how to do things sometimes.
so imagine just getting a car with a stranger, or like I live with the strangers I met on the internet. That should be a story itself,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And I never know if that guy
Yeah.
was like a murderer or like what. But then, yeah,
Well,
it was crazy. Like
uh
everyone thinks I was crazy for living with the strangers,
I don't think
but
it's
then
crazy, but
yeah,
it depends on how you do it. It depends on how you do it. I think
yeah, yeah, yeah,
if I
yeah,
was in
yeah.
that
I think
situation,
so.
I would meet them beforehand. I would try to get to know who they're friends with and try to know something about them, but it depends on the situation, I think. I don't know how you did it, but
So yeah, well, I talked to this person before like couple of times, but then after that we just like yeah, we get on with it, just live together, and turn out it didn't work well, but I learned my lesson. So yeah,
oh, you
that's
mean like
how
finding
you
a
do it.
roommate? A
No,
roommate.
I was not even trying to find a
Oh, just
roommate.
staying at
So
their
I was
place.
talking. No. So, okay, here's the story. I was talking to a guy online back when I was like 20, I guess. I just recently like got into a breakup, and then I wanted to travel everywhere. So I got online into like OK Cupid. It was funny. And then
Oh,
suddenly I talked to this guy.
uh-huh.
He told me that he was nomading, so moving between places. And then I was like, oh, what if we move to Bali together?
Okay.
And then he said yes. We said yes, and then we instantly booked Airbnb. And within a week,
Yeah,
I was still traveling in Singapore,
yeah.
but within a week we moved together. We just met at an airport.
That's too much for me, but it's cool. I mean, like, did you feel scared at all though?
No, no, no.
Uh-huh.
That's one thing about me. I don't really feel scared.
You just the fear just doesn't compute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think it has to do something with my experiences about the accident. Yeah. So after that huge accident, I feel like my fear has gone off. Like it
oh,
switched off.
you fell off a motorbike, right?
No, no, a
Bicycle.
bicycle.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
after that, you're just
And
not
I
scared
felt
of
like,
anything.
no, no, except like a couple of things. But then with people, it's like I have no fears at that moment. And now when I look back, I was like, okay, that was some crazy shit happening.
I did something
Um,
crazy.
I yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, I even like sleep on the street,
yeah.
sleep on like outside,
Uh-huh.
and that was like before the pandemic, where things are still normal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a bit crazy. But then now it's like, okay, I have to be a bit careful.
You can
That's why
understand
you
why.
told me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you even told me in the past that I have to be more careful. You always emphasize this carefulness.
I
But
remember
then
a
I
little
was
bit.
like, yeah, but then I'm like,
Well, because
yeah, why
I do
not?
crazy
Just
shit
try them.
too, but like I always try
Hmm.
to I try to assess the situation and like minimize the risks. Yeah. But
Yeah,
if the risks aren't
but I was
huge, then
not
I
good.
just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's how you learn. That's how I pretty much like discover many things, just because I was not afraid of things.
Hmm.
But then once I started like thinking about all the fears, I started like not moving,
Hmm.
and I think that got me unhappy in a way, because then you know um, I'm afraid of things. I'm afraid that this will go wrong, that will go wrong.
It
Um,
never ends.
yeah,
There's so
it
many
never
things to be
ends.
afraid of.
But then after like removing that part of fear, I'm like, yeah, let's go there. I don't care. And
Uh,
it is crazy.
yeah. Well,
But
what I noticed
I've
too,
never been a fearless person. Mhm.
what I noticed is like, um, some things I think are really reasonable to worry about, but I think that there's a lot of
Yeah,
things like the more you worry about them, the more likely they are to happen to you too. So there's
exactly. Yeah,
even
yeah.
if you don't think about like law of attraction or anything like that, if you just think of it from a pure like very physical sense, very kind of like
Mm.
logical way. Like when I was traveling in hostels, I stayed in a lot of hostels where it was like a dormitory room, and people would always tell me like, "Be careful with your belongings. Be careful with your belongings.
Oh
Lock them up
yeah,
here. Lock
yeah,
them up
yeah.
there."
That too.
And so my thought was just like, "What's important to me? My passport, my backup money. That's it, right?" My computer was this old piece of shit, and I was just thinking like, if somebody steals this, I'm gonna feel a little bit annoyed, but it's not gonna ruin my, my whole experience, right? And
Okay.
so
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
felt like, let's do an experiment. Let's just leave my computer out to see what happens. And I noticed like,
Mhm.
so what I did when I got to a new place, just the most important stuff I'd lock up somewhere, or I'd put it somewhere where no
Mhm.
one could ever find it, and I would just I wouldn't worry about it, and I would just leave my computer in the lobby sometimes, or I would go out to
Right.
get lunch, and I'd leave my computer in the lobby, and someone would say, "Hey, you left your computer here. It's really dangerous." I'm like, and I wouldn't do this with a brand new computer, because I think when you do that in that situation, you're kind of inviting something to happen to you, because people want that brand new computer a lot more than they want the old computer. But
Oh, I
uh,
actually, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
wait,
Continue,
can I
continue.
finish
You
this
can.
first? Because what I
Yeah,
noticed
yeah,
was
sure.
I noticed that like I found certain people, they always have their stuff stolen. Always. They
Yes.
went so many different
Yeah.
places and their stuff was stolen.
Yes.
But they had this
Yeah.
attitude of like, and they're locking stuff up really carefully, looking around, like, oh, right. And when they go to sleep, they kind of like, they have this like very paranoid sense about them. And you have to imagine, if there's someone looking to steal from someone else, they're probably going to choose that person first, because they look like they have something to hide. They look like they have something valuable. And when you act relaxed
Exactly.
and you act like your computer is just there, it's no problem. People think like, oh,
Yeah.
that must not be a great computer because he's leaving it there. It's like just this kind of logical thing where there's kind of a law of attraction aspect if you want to look into it, but if you don't even believe in that, there's this just logical aspect where it's just, oh, they're relaxed. It means they have nothing that I want to steal, right? And also, like when you act like you're hiding something, people don't trust you, and they start to think negative things about you too. And so maybe
Yeah.
even
Pretty
someone that
much.
never wanted to hurt you in the first place, they start to dislike you because you have this negative aura about you.
Yeah.
So I noticed that
Yeah.
while I was traveling.
Yeah, so like you, I stayed in many hostels, right? And they always tell me about how to keep your belongings safe and all that.
Mhm.
But then I was only living off my backpack,
Mhm.
so I never have to worry. Even if it like shit hits the fan, I'm pretty sure I could always run somewhere. Or
Mhm.
I practically have a lot of friends in many countries who could like if I wanted to help, they could.
Mhm.
Even in the country, I always make sure that if I go in a place or a country, I have friends there
Yeah,
who
yeah,
I
yeah,
could
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, who I could like contact if something happens. And my belongings are always like in my backpack, so I always carry it everywhere. And then everyone knows me as a girl with the hoodie on with the backpack. So there's a reason actually, because my laptop is everything to me. It's my money. It's a contact for me. So I think it's kind of normal for others to see me in a backpack, and even other people as well. So it's like they I've never experienced like people trying to mock me, even though I like go out at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. with my backpack on.
Uh-huh.
So basically,
Uh-huh.
it's that way. But then when I stayed at hostels, that's what I learned. You don't look suspicious, and never, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
always have a backup somewhere.
yeah,
And also,
exactly. If you train your
wait,
intuition,
wait,
uh-huh, yeah, sorry.
I remember the story. So when I was in Bali, I dropped my wallet, and my wallet is looking like this. If you see wallet like this, would you steal this? Would you take this with
The
you,
famous.
like this?
Yeah, so it doesn't even look valuable, right?
Right.
No,
But
it's the
then
key.
it got like some money in here,
Yeah.
and then okay, I have a platinum card.
Don't show the number.
This is a platinum card. No. and then okay, so this one. See, I have this too,
Oh,
and it was open like this, and then nobody takes it.
really?
In comparison to if it like this,
Uh-huh.
which one would you take? This or this?
Uh, I mean,
This one.
I can't see that well, but I mean,
Okay,
if it looks
this
like there's
this.
money in it, I would probably take it if I were looking to steal money.
So compared to this,
Oh, that one.
this is
Okay, like a
nicer.
thick wallet,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like a thick wallet,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
But then it doesn't have anything. Like, and then I was shocked because I finished eating and everything, and the wallet was just on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
like this, like open like this on the ground, and nobody takes it.
Mm-hmm.
I was freaking out because I realized after paying my bill,
Yeah.
it was at an expensive restaurant.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's important though. That's an important detail though, because if it's an expensive restaurant, the chances of someone looking to steal money is very small,
No, no, no.
right?
But then it was dropped in front of the road, which is very
Okay,
busy.
okay, okay.
Like many people are there.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like at the moment I was pretty shocked and like how am I gonna pay this meal? Because like I saw they don't do the QR code or any like online transfer.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, and then everyone told me like, you're gonna do the dishes. Your dream came true.
That's nice though. You should have an option.
But yeah, I still will. I always still had an option, but then it was like shocking.
Oh,
And then after a while, like everyone been telling me that this wallet is really ugly. But then yeah, and then
lifesaver
my
too.
mom said like, yeah, life saving too. And then my mom was like, yeah, because nobody's gonna take that wallet. It's ugly.
Mhm. Well, I noticed that too about like people that care a lot about status and they show
Mhm.
off their status, they have to worry about
Mhm.
safety a lot more. So the more you kind of show off, like, oh, look at my watch, look at my nice, brand designer shirt.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
go to a lot of
yeah.
places because you become the target of whoever, right? Most of the people are probably good, but if there's one person
Mm.
looking to take advantage, they're going to target you. And so this is
Pretty
this is
much.
how you travel, right? When you're going to travel somewhere, you want to get into the culture. You just kind of you take it easy. You don't try to show off and
Exactly.
yeah,
Also, well, showing off is a bad way if you want to learn a culture.
right?
They don't see you. One thing I learned is that when you
Down to
want to
it.
learn something, you have to humble yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one rule that I always like carry with me.
Mhm.
If you want to learn anything,
Yeah.
even if it's like culture, whatever, just humble yourself.
This is
Even though you know something, act like you don't know. Act like you want to know something.
you told me that before. I know
Yeah,
that about you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You,
That's my.
hmm?
Wait. No, no, you first.
No, no, I just said I remember you telling me that like you just like to just listen to people and not really tell them your opinion because that's the way you can learn from them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, pretty much like that.
that's
Same
awesome.
thing everywhere.
Yeah.
Even even like when you're like showing off and stuff like that, like visiting another culture, they gonna treat you like you're a tourist
Mm,
or like people who are like, you know, don't want to learn anything or don't want to humble yourself.
mm,
That's why many of my friends in the past had a bad experiences living in in the remote places. That's because they are not humbling themselves.
mm,
They are showing off.
mm,
But when you humble yourself, they're gonna tell you a lot more about their life,
mm,
about, they kind of take you in, and then you ended up learning so much more about their life, their culture, or um, what they like doing when they're free or something like that. And that you are invited to many things, which is amazing because what I love about it before was that if you're invited to something, then there's gonna be food and snacks.
mm,
Yeah, and then that's a nice trade-off. And in the past, when I live in the remote places, the kids even like me for some reason.
the who?
Like they want to hang out with me. The kids, the
Kids.
children around. Yeah, because I'm pretty much open, and I was even invited to their parents' house,
Mm,
which is funny. Because I was like, they told me that I was only a few people who wanted to like, play with them and then even come into the parents' houses.
mm,
Because many of them don't want to do that. They don't want to create complications. But
mm.
yeah,
Yeah, like people are generally they're always in defense mode, I think, and it stops them from experiencing things because bad things can happen, but at the same time, like so many more good things could happen if you set yourself up for that, and all
right,
that requires sometimes is being like positive and open minded about something.
right.
Yeah.
Like even if I got like I told you I was scammed, right? Like when I came to you, in yeah, like that was also a place that I've never been before, and then I got scammed, and I was like very devastated for sure.
Uh-huh.
But then I ended up like, you know, actually my experience was not different from other people that I met there who also got scammed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well, just imagine.
um,
Just imagine, like
yeah, and then
if
no, no,
you
you first.
if you um if you have that experience of being scammed
Mhm.
and then you keep that as like that's all you remember about your time there, you're not even gonna like this place. Meanwhile, like your whole life you said is great there, you love your life there,
Yeah,
and you feel
yeah.
like you're really connected to that place. You can have a good life there, and you might have missed that just because you got scammed once and decided to focus on that one
To
more.
not ever visit. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like
But
screw this
then
place, I'm
that's
never
what
going
I
back there.
exactly
Yeah.
like even if I stayed in Lombok, that's where I got scammed, right?
Mhm.
And then I realized that if I want to take my mom there, then I know some precautions
Mhm.
so that I don't get scammed again.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everyone been telling me that um, it's because there's international events. That's how they scam you.
Mhm.
But then that's actually it. It is the people are, even though they are not friendly, but they are nice. At least nice in a good way.
Uh-huh.
So that's one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been scammed before a little bit. I've been like, I've had bad things. I've had people treat me badly before, and like I've had ideas
Mm,
stolen from me and certain things. Like I had certain kind of artistic ideas that somebody just took for themselves and profited from, and it
mm.
sucks, and I hated it. But at the same time, that one experience doesn't have to define all my future experiences too. It's like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to
Same.
learn what I can, and then I try to like protect myself in any way I can. But then also, I'm going to be positive about my future experiences.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I'm always looking forward to whenever I travel. One experience, define many other things. Because after a while, after staying like in Lombok, even after being scammed, a lot of people were really nice.
Hmm.
Like they were like talking to me, telling me, and then even when I confront them about the scam, they were like, "Well, we are sorry that it happened to you. It's because this event, something like that." And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna come back because it's actually pretty nice,
Hmm.
you know, all things considered." And yeah, and then actually in Bali, they were telling me that if someone is offering you a ride in Lombok, you don't take that.
Mm.
But then in that time, I was offered a couple of times, and I was like, I'll consider it. But my cousin was like, no, we'll walk, and then I ended up walking with him like a lot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's been interesting. I'm definitely gonna come back to Lombok maybe next year or something, because there's so many places that I wanna go now since it's open. Um, I'm hoping Japan will open soon.
Welcome, you know.
I know.
I'll try to take you wherever I can, you know.
Yeah.
Wait, you
Yeah.
said Lumbo is not Bali.
Uh,
Is
no,
it
no,
near Bali
no.
or not?
Near Bali, but it's an island itself with its different culture and language. Imagine, like that was the first time I traveled into a place where they don't really speak Indonesian, and they also speak their own language that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So it's like I was like, okay, because they were talking in their language
Mhm.
while they were like, you know, discussing things. So I was like, holy crap, where am I now?
Yeah,
So it was a contrast. Yeah,
so most of the country
crazy.
speaks just standard Indonesian,
Not all. It depends where you go.
but that's the
But
first
then,
time you experience that.
not the first time. They,
Oh.
you know, like, so in Indonesia, the main language is Indonesian,
Uh-huh.
right? But then they have their own local languages where they speak with each other.
Mhm.
And it is quite impossible to learn all of it because it's a lot and it's different.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's not my first time. Even within Java Island, I don't even know some other places' languages. And when I visit and they're talking to each other, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they planned something bad, maybe they're not. Who knows?
Mhm.
But then, yeah. But then, at some point, if you live in Java, you know Indonesian. But outside Java, some do, some don't. Even in Bali, I feel like I have a bit disconnection if I speak in Indonesian with the elders because their Indonesian is a bit odd.
Mhm.
It's like what I say won't like actually translate to them. So it's kind of disconnection
Mhm.
in those things. So yeah, now it's like it's funny actually.
Mm. I mean, this is one of the really interesting things about Indonesia for me is that it, it's one country, but there's just so much going on in there, and the difference between the city and the countryside, it's massive, right?
Different,
It's just
massive,
completely
pretty
different.
massive.
It's as different as
Yeah.
it could be, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I
So,
hope I can go.
so that's yeah, yeah. So, you know, like if you go, I think if you like actually experience the place, you'll notice the differences,
Hmm.
like how they talk, how their mannerisms, their understanding level of Indonesian. I think like they, when I arrive in Bali or like at my guest house, they
Hmm.
even talk to me in English.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess there's foreigners all over the place there, right?
Yeah, and then the man was like the owner, and he was like greeting me like good morning. You know, I was like, I said in Indonesian selamat pagi, and then he said, oh, you speak Indonesian.
Yeah. I've had
I
that
was like,
experience
yeah,
too, actually. Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, I'm Indonesian, and then when I start talking to the female, and she
Mhm.
started telling me that the family is very religious, and she has been to many like religious sacred places
Mhm.
in Java where I stay now. So I was like, oh yeah, I've been there. And then yeah, start telling me stuff because I've been to many places here. So we kind of like share, you know, one thing or two, like why you are coming there and stuff like that. And then they also told me that, you know, people from Java likes to go to some sacred places in Bali.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Mm.
Pretty much like that.
It's too much to. I have to go there, otherwise all these places and everything they just don't connect. You know, from
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. If you only hear from stories, it's gonna be different
Yeah.
from like actual experiencing the country.
Mm.
And if you just go for the party, then it's gonna be different as well.
No, no, I want to like I like to travel the same way as you, where I try to interact with whoever I can in like positive interactions with strangers. That's what I want when I travel. But when you're talking about this too, I feel like I should live, and I want to. I want to live like that here, in like
Mm.
I'm based in Tokyo. I want to be like that in Tokyo too. The
Yeah,
problem
you
is
can
that
do that.
when you stay for a long time, you start to get dragged down by the kind of you worry about pissing off your neighbors. You worry about because there's consequences when you live there. When you don't live somewhere, you don't have as many consequences. So you're a
See,
lot more
that's the
positive.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because like when someone asks me where I'm from, it's hard to actually say
Mm,
because my family are scattered everywhere, and then
mm,
like one people don't. Oh, you have a family there? Yeah,
mm.
I literally have my family anywhere. Even um, my mom, my biological mom, she's everywhere. She's even crazier than me. She lives. Imagine like she's traveling in all the remote parts of Indonesia, and she talks to them, and she's she's way crazier. So
Uh,
some people told me that I'm actually like her, just in a softer way.
uh,
But yeah, but well, because her job, just like her job enables her to do that.
mm,
So I can't. So that's why she was like, "You should be like me
mm.
because I get paid to travel a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, but then I don't like that. I could have, like paid it in a different way." So
Uh-huh.
that's why, and she's all about woman empowerment. Even if it's like in a remote places, she'll talk about it a lot.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, this is way cultural than me. Like if you see me, then yeah, she's more than me.
Uh-huh. So she's not scared of
That's
anything.
no. She literally live in the jungle,
Cool.
like the actual jungle of Indonesia, which is like crazy because the people there don't even wear clothes. I saw some pictures of her.
Uh,
Like they don't wear like clothes like us. They wear their traditional clothing and stuff. They live in a hut like,
mm.
which is
Yeah,
crazy. And
I've seen videos
um,
before, but like I just want to ask you to make sure, like people in
yeah,
Yogyakarta, people in Jakarta, they don't interact with those people in your hometown. They don't interact with these people so much, right? Or
no,
like no
no, no,
interaction, right?
no, unless you go there
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Only
unless you're a
people who are really
government. Yeah,
looking for it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. That's why that's why I want to go in other places like my mom. But then yeah, it's costly.
Mm,
And now the one who's doing it is my brother.
mhm,
He lives in he tries to live like that, and yeah, it's I think it's fun too. And then when I met him last time, like last year, he started like has different accents,
huh?
which is
What's it?
crazy to me. He started speaking different languages, like the accent, and his food choices are even different than when I first knew him.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy, it's mind blowing. But then, um, my mom also dressed like homeless person, or like well,
I need to see pictures of this homeless person attire.
no, like just regular attire, But then it's not like something nice or like flashy or anything. But she dresses like that with a backpack as well, with a sling bag, like an adventurer in a way.
Backpacker.
That's backpacker. Yeah, she's like that. Even though she's like, she makes a lot of money working for the government and
Mm.
stuff. So it was weird. It was weird saying like that because she's anomaly in a way.
Mm. I have so many other questions for you. There's so many directions I
No
want to take this,
worry.
but like, you think we should end it for today and then we'll do it again soon?
Yeah. We can end it for today. So you can like state your conclusion or Thanks for this podcast.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was awesome. I learned a lot about you because we've talked a lot before, but there's these
Yeah.
things that I had no idea about. Like I have a bunch of other questions I want to talk. I think next time I want to learn more about like these individual experiences about
Oh
traveling here or
yeah.
doing this
Yeah.
kind of crazy thing, or and
Yeah.
also about
Yeah.
Indonesia in general too. But so
Yeah.
thanks for coming on, and I'll talk to you soon.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sorry for the internet connection and stuff.
No, 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 it's not.